Were you fearful of the minister?
Not at all, and that is
Why,
not at all, and that is
why then did you not write such
that
a
is why I
letter?
said, Chair.
Sorry, you
Sorry.
spoke over me. Why then did you not write such a letter?
That is why I said, Chair, we'd have to look for the letter that the response. What did I write in my response to the minister?
But
I
surely,
don't think that I
surely,
got a response.
sorry. But surely, that letter could not possibly have said, Minister, we are not going to do anything about this because there's no Section 27 referral, because that would have been at variance with or at odds with you instructing Mr. Perumal to follow up with Mr. Adams. So that letter, even if we were to look at it, it's not likely to have said what I'm suggesting you ought to have done. So do you think that letter is going to assist you?
I'd have to look at the contents.
Do you think it's going to assist you as you sit there, seriously? Do you think it's going to assist you?
Not at all.
It cannot possibly do so. It cannot possibly do so because such contents would have been, as I say, at odds with the instruction you gave to Mr. Perumal. You agree?
I agree, Chair. Would have done, and that is why I'm saying I cannot find it. We would have acknowledged receipt of the letter. And that is as far as I would have been able to take it because there was nothing to do. There wasn't anything attached to this letter for me to be able to act upon it.
That's not an answer. Surely that's not an answer, Advocate. You cannot just acknowledge receipt and then keep quiet. How will the ministry know what your issue or problem is? Why not raise it with the ministry that I'm not able to do anything with this because, as you put it, there are no annexures to your letter? Why do you just acknowledge and then fold your arms and do nothing? That escapes me.
Not do nothing.
You've just told us. Thus far, sorry. Thus far, you've basically told us that you did nothing. All you did was to acknowledge receipt of the letter.
Yes.
What did you do then if you did do something? What did you do?
I honestly cannot remember. I have to cast my mind back to, in the acknowledgement of the receipt of the letter, I speak under correction. I'm not sure that I asked and indicated that there was nothing attached to this letter, because a few days later, by way of envelope, we get the Section 27.
He would have been told to file a Section 27. I mean, he didn't make it up. He didn't wake up one morning thinking, oops, I have to put in a Section 27 affidavit. So someone would have advised him to file that. That's why it's important to know, what did you do? What did you say in that acknowledgement of this letter? You must have said something.
The head of the Independent Directorate Against Corruption, IDEC, Advocate Andre Johnson, came under intense scrutiny at the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry on Wednesday over her decision to pursue allegations made by Member of Parliament Fadayel Adams before obtaining the affidavit required under Section 27 of the National Prosecuting Authority Act. During proceedings in Pretoria, commissioners questioned whether Johnson had acted beyond IDEC's statutory mandate and whether her decision was influenced by pressure from then Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, whose office had urged the Directorate to consider investigating Adams' claims. At the center of the dispute was a complaint Adams submitted after alleging that senior police officers had interfered with criminal dockets he had opened in October 2024. Mchunu's Chief of Staff, Cedric Nkabinde, subsequently wrote to IDEC describing the allegations as serious and requesting the Directorate to consider investigating the matter and provide Adams with feedback. However, commissioners noted that the referral was not accompanied by a sworn affidavit required under Section 27 of the NPA Act, a key legal prerequisite for referring matters to IDEC. The issue became a focal point during Johnson's testimony, with Commission Chair Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga questioning why she had not simply informed the minister's office that ITEC could not proceed without necessary affidavit, and said, "What stopped you from writing back to the minister that without a Section 27 referral, we as ITEC can't do anything? Were you fearful of the minister?" Johnson rejected the suggestion, insisting she had not acted out of fear. The commission also examined the scope of ITEC's investigation. While Adams' original complaint centered on the alleged interception of criminal dockets, the investigation expanded to include allegations of fraud and corruption surrounding the appointment of civilian Dineo Mokwele as a brigadier within the Crime Intelligence Division. Those investigations ultimately culminated in the arrest of Crime Intelligence head Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo and several senior officers at OR Tambo International Airport on June 26, 2025. Evidence leader Advocate Mohlape Silo SC questioned why ITEC broadened its investigation beyond the alleged interference with dockets. Johnson defended the decision, arguing that the minister's correspondence referred to serious allegations involving senior police officials, which justified further investigation. But Madlanga challenged that interpretation, saying the letter itself contained no substantive allegations capable of triggering ITEC's statutory mandate, and said that said nothing because we don't even know what these allegations are. Johnson conceded that the letter itself did not set out specific allegations. The Commission's attention then shifted to Johnson's interpretation of Section 27 of the NPA Act, which allows a person with reasonable grounds to suspect that a specific offense has been committed to report the matter to the head of an investigating directorate by way of an affidavit or affirmed declaration setting out the basis of that suspension. Johnson testified that she considered Adams' allegations through what she described as a subjective test, believing that he genuinely had grounds for his suspicions. Her explanation drew a sharp response from Madlanga and said, "Are you seriously telling us that since being the director in 2022, this is how you have understood the ITEC legal mandate?" Johnson maintained that Adams' position as a member of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police gave weight to his concerns, while also arguing that she had considered what a reasonable person in his position would have believed. Madlanga rejected that reasoning, saying Johnson was conflating two distinct legal concepts, and said Law 101 says subjective, you look to the person's mind. Objective, you test that in accordance with how a reasonable person would view a situation. The two are totally different. You cannot want to compound them. I mean, even a law student during first year will know at a later stage during their first year of their legal studies. He emphasized that Section 27 requires an objective assessment based on whether reasonable grounds exist, rather than relying solely on the complainant's personal belief. The exchange marked one of the most pointed moments of Johnson's testimony, with commissioners repeatedly questioning whether ITEC had complied with its legal mandate before embarking on one of its most high-profile investigations. Meanwhile, in 2025, ITEC arrested Crime Intelligence boss Dumisani Khumalo and several of his colleagues for fraud and corruption. Previous witnesses at the Madlanga Commission accused ITEC of pursuing a baseless case against crime intelligence officers due to political influence. In November 2024, Cedric Nkabinde, Chief of Staff to the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, wrote to ITEC to engage with Adams regarding complaints about corruption at Crime Intelligence. ITEC then engaged Adams and requested him to prepare a Section 27 affidavit to investigate any matter. Johnson was challenged when she took exception that she solicited the affidavit from Adams. Commission Chairperson Boysen Madlanga said he solicited that affidavit. Do you agree? Johnson said, I agree. Evidence leader Mohlape Silo and said, as you sit here today, is it appropriate of ITEC to be soliciting complaints from members of the public, of which the ITEC initiates investigations? Johnson said, no, we're not supposed to solicit. That is why I'm saying I tell Mr. Perumal, ITEC investigator, to engage Mr. Adams. I don't know if this was a prepared affidavit already. It was to say to him, we received a letter from the minister and we are engaging you. Documents before the commission shows Adams' affidavit was prepared 2 weeks after the letter from the police minister's chief of staff. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.